So this session will start with an opening made by Ms. Signe Razzo, Deputy Director General, DG RTD European Commission, and Ms. Gronkiewicz-Waltz, former mayor of Warsaw, among other things. And they will have a few minutes in order to introduce the session. So please sit down.
Good morning to everybody. While still some people are finding their places, I will start off quickly. Ms. Anna Gronkiewicz-Waltz, Chair of the Mission Board on Cities, dear colleagues, dear participants of this session. You come from a variety of backgrounds, from academia, research centers, public organizations, private sector, NGOs. There are also members of the Cities Mission Board. You will have, perhaps you're wondering why in such a setting, you're actually going to have a participatory session, meaning that this is the way to co-create the mission on cities. The colleagues from the Commission already know that because this has been the way how we've designed the whole program, Horizon Europe. And now you will also have a chance to do that together. But the colleagues will explain it to you later. I'd like to do something totally different. I'd like to read to you an extract from a book. It's actually a marvelous book by Laurie Winkless, Science and the City. This, I hope, will give you some food for thought for your discussions this morning. Because it describes, well, everything that is already available in the cities where most of our citizens live and what makes their life livable in the cities. But at the end, that's also a chapter which looks into the future, into a potential future for a citizen in the city. And I just like to read to you a few extracts from that. First, about the morning. As I doze in the small hours, the rest of the city is alive with activity. Since large trucks were banned from the city center during the day, most deliveries now happen between midnight and dawn. But thanks to advances in electric and fuel cell vehicles, not to mention drones and airships, they are almost completely silent, which keeps noise levels in our neighborhoods low. The widespread use of autonomous systems in shipping and logistics means that humans now play a supervisory role in making it all happen. Their skills and expertise are used to ensure the robots keep doing the thing. For my elderly neighbor, the lack of heavy lifting has allowed him to stay in the job he loves. Now, about the afternoon. Today's electricity grid is quite different from what you are used to. More collaborative, I guess. There is still 4 national networks, but these days there are many more local systems that produce and distribute their own electricity, like the building I'm standing on. In terms of natural resources, we are lucky too. Our city is on the coast and we get regular sunshine, so wind and solar power work well. Our apartment building has solar panels on the roof, and our south-facing balcony is clad in them amongst the plants. We also contribute to a community fund to lease a series of offshore wind turbines. In our district, at least, the bulk of our electricity comes from these 2 sources. We have huge improvements in energy storage, to thanks for a lot of this. Without it would be impossible to balance supply and demand. And now about the evening. Once home, I do little more work before heading to the top floor to start gathering dinner Our farm was one of the reasons we moved to this building. Using very little water, treated wastewater, that is, and electricity only from renewable sources, the residents have created a paradise from where we get all our vegetables. I select a few potatoes and move to the salad sections. We've been following a growing recipe from another farm. Our crop yield is amazing. We see little or no waste. You may wonder, is it utopia? Is it the future we are dreaming about? Actually, quite a few of these components are already available today. So now it's our chance to make it a reality. You may want to discuss what kind of a reality we'd like to achieve with our missions for our citizens, for all the citizens that live in the cities. So I wish you a very fruitful an hour and a half. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Signe. Thank you. Now, Chair, would you please make your opening speech?
Good afternoon. As I was already introduced, I am former mayor of Warsaw, which is capital city of Poland, for the last 12 years. Becoming the chair of the mission board for climate neutral and smart cities, I should tell you when we started. We started on the 6th of September, and tomorrow we'll have the second meeting, which is, as you see, the beginning of the mission. Until now, we discussed about choosing the mission, and probably after the next meeting, we decide about further direction. The choice of the appropriate, relevant mission is very important, but the way how we launch and implement it, it has even the bigger weight, I think so. We would like to be close to the committee. Nowadays, you are our committee for the time being, for this afternoon. And we would like to be close to not only to the biggest cities, because it's easier, but to the medium-sized and smaller cities. And we would like to consult our proposals with different stakeholders, citizens, before all NGOs, local politicians, also I think employees of city halls, because they are very often responsible for the implementation, and other important actors. The consultation, I think, should be broad, open, and very sincere. Why? I think that we are witnessing today the stronger than ever anti-European mood, and we have in our hands a very important tool which can increase credibility, which can increase confidence of the EU, on the EU in the eyes of our citizens. So now I think what is important in relationships with the citizens is, first of all, it was many years ago mainly consultations. Then it was participation. Nowadays, it is co-creation together with them. So let's go and talk.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the inspiring speeches. Now we will start the participative session, and we will explain you how it will work. So you are around 15 circles. Of course, we call them round table, but it's round table without table today. So you will have discussion in the different circles, and we have also identified different roles for key people to hear the discussion. So Gaziana will explain the different roles that are in the groups.
Yes, hello, I'm Graziana. So in each group, there are different type of persons. You are all participants. Welcome to this session, the participants. There is a moderator, which is a member of the board or the assembly of the mission. So please raise your hands, the moderators. So we check in the also if all are here. So is there a moderator on each circle? Yes? Okay, good. In each circle, there is also a note taker who will summarize a bit what has been the discussion and will help the board to prepare the report after the session. So they are very helpful in grasping the conversation, every conversation, and to help for the report. But there is also another role, and this will be for the second part of the session, is the rapporteur role. So it means that in each of the circles of the group, one person will be reporting after what were the key messages you want to share with the others, what were the main ideas proposed. So it could be either the moderator or one of you. We advise to take one of you as normal participant, let's say, to report back to the plenary after the 30 minutes of conversation that we will have. I think that Serge will continue about the three rounds. We have 3 parts in this afternoon.
Yes. So now the different steps. So we will have 3 steps in the discussion. The first step about 30 minutes. So in each circle, you will have discussion and trying to find answers to 2 questions that are coming on the next slide. So this will be about 30 minutes discussing. So please allow everyone to have a talk, to have a say, be kind to people, listen to other people. It's on 30 minutes, so it's already a challenge because you are already a lot in each circle. The second step, it's about 10 minutes. Within each circle, you should agree on 1 answer per question. So during the discussion, you may identify, for example, 2, 3, 4, 5 answers. Of course, we will take everything into account at the end. So it's just to have a kind of an idea about prioritization of the ideas. But don't be afraid, everything will be taken on note by the note taker, and we will also listen to you, and everything will be used after the meeting. So during these 10 minutes, try to agree on only one answer per question, and you will have post-it like that. Yeah, I will give it to you. And you will have post-it to put the final answer to each question. During the first phase, sorry, I forgot to say that you have also this canvas.
We have prepared a little canvas to help you framing the discussion, because in half an hour it's a very, very short time to discuss all these really important topics. So you will have to write on this paper the main proposals for question 1 and question 2 that we will explain in a few minutes. And from this, then you pick the most voted amongst you, the preferred idea that you will bring to the plenary after on the post-it.
And then, so we have the third step, which is the plenary and the reporting. So in each group, I hope you will find a rapporteur. And this rapporteur will explain very quickly, because we have only 1-2 minutes per circle, to report and to explain and to show the 2 post-its. So answer to question 1 and answer to question 2. Yeah. So now comes the questions.
Is everything clear? Before we go to the questions,
right.
Any question, comment, non-understanding, or... Yeah.
Okay, so we go very quick.
It's about what the EU should do? Or...
No, it's very open. So it's not only EU Commission should do something, it's topic. So now we have the question. So question 1, it's, I will just read it. Identify challenges of the climate neutral and smart city mission area that you consider having the potential to be inspirational. So the key words here are challenges. Challenges is something that speaks to citizens. It's not something which is a bit vague and things like that. It's really something that a citizen can understand and can even create emotion, so that you understand what is these challenges and you want to fight for.
And you are all citizens above all. I mean, you represent maybe an organization here or a company or an administration, but you are all, and we are all citizens. So put your shoes into your citizens' hat and speak on that.
So first question, challenges. Second questions, of course, it's about co-creation, participation, so engagement of citizens and stakeholders. So do you have examples where you know or you have already experienced that may have, could have, or have had an impact on climate neutral cities? So discuss among you and try to find some example or just pick a few examples of citizen and stakeholder engagement for having an impact on climate neutral cities. Then you discuss, and as I explained before, then you choose during the 10 minutes one main, one more important in your group answer to the two questions.
Yeah, just Jean-François, if you can maybe, there is a problem outside. If you, sorry.
Okay,
housekeeping.
So I think we can.
I think we can start. Just one thing. We will be quite tough on the timing because you have only now 1 hour, a bit more than an hour to really come to concrete ideas and to concrete input to give us. So I will be tough when the time is over, it's over. Even if you are speaking in a conversation, we will interrupt you to go to the next round. I apologize already in advance for that. I will be quite impolite, but it's a matter of process and having really the best of it, the best of the tool that, and the technique that we use now.
Okay, so once again, please listen to other people. Don't interrupt. Everybody input is valuable. You need to, and don't judge people. So just listen and try to have a very kind discussion. Thank you very much. You have 30 minutes and then we will go to second step. Thank you.
The 30 minutes start now.
Une seconde. Excusez-moi. Est-ce qu'on peut mettre les questions sur le grand écran? Est-ce qu'on peut mettre les questions sur le grand écran? C'est quoi l'écran? Ok. Mais il y en a qui ont donné 5 minutes pour chacun réfléchir, c'est que ça ne soit pas le premier qui parle qui a raison.
It's one of the mission board.
Should be one.
I don't know. I don't know. I will try to look for.
Il y en a en plus. Do you have the canvas? C'est bon, il en tous. Je pense qu'il en tous.
Ils écrivent. Lui, il parle, hein, lui. Je sais pas qui c'est. C'est un membre du board, mais il est blablabla. Mais c'est pas très bien foutu ces tables comme ça, c'est rond. Oui, mais regarde ici, c'est un ovale, ils n'arrivent pas à s'entendre, tu vois.
Tu avais démarré les 30 minutes. Hein,
Oui.
parce qu'on annoncera à 15.
Et surtout à 15,
Qui
il faut
doit passer à
rappeler...
l'autre, ou même avant, ou même un peu avant. Même, moi, je pense qu'à
Ici, je pense qu'il y a beaucoup de monde.
ce que j'ai dit, c'est qu'on allait j'ai dit qu'on allait les clustering.
Il y a plein de choses qu'on peut faire. C'est pas grave.
Quoi d'autre?
Mais je vois pas ce qu'il y a caché.
Je sais pas.
Alors, je sais qu'est-ce qu'il y a.
C'est rendu à partir.
En fait, c'était quelqu'un des gens. Juste voir si tout va bien. Oui, il était passé. Oui, c'est pas un problème. Même si je le fais sans qu'il regarde juste le cahier. Là, si on est dans les cahiers. On a commencé à Et là, les tables, elles sont bien.
On a vu lundi qu'ils ont
Les 22. Enfin, il reste 22 minutes. Oui, oui. Qu'est-ce qu'on fait quand il reste 20
Ou alors on va attendre.
Corbier dit, il y a un moment, personne l'a dit. Sur Internet, ils le disent. La chaire, elle a un peu dit, mais elle a fait un choix. Elle m'a dit que l'objectif de cette session, c'est par là. Les a enlevés, c'est le gouvernement. Comme tu veux. Oui. Donc, qu'est-ce qu'on leur dit? Qu'ils ont encore 5 minutes pour faire l'autre session. Moi, je laisse le micro.
Tu fais quel bout?
Je vais par là, moi. Toi, tu vas à gauche.
Tu fais tout cela?
Toi, tu commences.
Je fais les deux premiers et après la deuxième.
Voilà.
You have just 5 minutes left if you want to have 15 minutes for second question. So 5 and then 15. Just keep it in mind.
the importance of the citizens negotiation also as part of this process can be
Just a very quick reminder, you have 5 minutes left if you want to have 15 minutes for second one. I don't know where you are, but just keep in mind the time. If you want to have 15 minutes for the second question, are you already on second one? Yes. Sorry to interrupt you. If you want, I don't know if you're still in question one. So you have 4 minutes to conclude. If you want to have 15 minutes for question two, just keep in mind time.
You have. se diminue. Sorry, everyone. It's now 10 minutes to the end of this conversation, just to let you know. Mais je le sais, quoi. Non, en fait, mon truc, il a... Je sais pas, il s'est arrêté à un moment, donc je l'ai remis.
Une sonnerie de ding. Mon bol.
On les entend pas.
Producer comes to waste.
Attends, donne-moi Hello everyone, may I have your attention? So now we need to move to step 2. So that means that you have 10 minutes to agree on one answer per question. Question 1, question 2, question 1 on the green paper, question 2 on the yellow one. So you have 10 minutes to run.
So please, one challenge and one concrete example, good example of citizens' participation. Engagement.
Thank you.
more or less the consensus.
Yes, sure. Yes. So the challenges, the circular economy that we talked about, the things, thermal insulation that we talked about in New York, the Windows project.
Donc
Toi, t'en gardes un pour
comment
faire
tu
le
vas
cluster.
faire les deux? Non, Julia, je vais lui demander de donner.
On a les hôtesses.
Oui, je vais leur donner.
Je vais leur demander. J'y vais.
Oui, vas-y.
Parce que je les ai vus tout à l'heure. Désolé. Dans 9 minutes maintenant, on va passer au report.
Merci.
Yeah, so let's put number one actually. Thank you. But let's say. Number three, reduce gas emissions by floating bikes. Number four, technology browsing. Number five, modern infrastructure with existing infrastructure. Not modernizing existing. Right. Number six,
Merci à depuis 6 ans.
Ouais, c'était une psychopathe de 22 ans.
traffic.
Mais je me dis, à un moment, il a bien fait qu'elle est bonne pas la fiante.
So I go up there and say no. Yes, so should we say retro is when you take it and give back?
Voilà, c'était l'émission dans les pays par les trois. C'est pas encore un typologie. Moyen employé. Les moyens employés.
So number one is council. Number two, the conferences. Number three,
J'avais parlé dans ta méthode.
number four,
D'ailleurs, j'ai jamais tenu un micro.
I can give you half of mine. Okay.
Vérifier au cas où c'est pas. Et après, ouais. Ok, ouais, les Français. Mais bon, les Anglais aussi font des efforts. Ils aiment bien dire que l'anglais, c'est une langue internationale. L'espagnol, c'est fort. Toutes les langues. Ouais.
The contest. So can we say contest?
Par contre, je croyais que c'était tous les gens qui parlaient en non, il y a
Okay, great. So we have number one. Okay. Oh, for each. Okay. C'est bon, on les arrête.
Oui. Je peux crier très fort aussi. It's finished. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The 10 minutes are over. And now we have a tight schedule to finish on time and to have something to eat for the ones who didn't have a lunch. So it's 1:28. It's 1:28. Please finalize your post-it. I hope you have 2 key messages to bring on each one on each post-it. Thank you for the silence. Very good. Thank you for the silence.
Okay, so we will go ahead. You have only 2 minutes per circle. I will take your post-it and Graziana will try to cluster them so we have an idea about what will be the main topics that have been discussed and proposed. So first we go around with question 1 only, and then we'll go second one with question 2, just to ease the process. So here we have the first group. So take the mic. The rapporteur should take the mic and just explain in 1 minute answer to question 1. Please go ahead.
And please, the other circles, listen to the reporting.
Okay, so our contribution to question 1 is create climate neutral cities with excellent air quality and offer smart, affordable housing for all citizens and achieve social justice.
So here the idea was that the city needs to be affordable, accessible, and inclusive. So affordable, accessible, and inclusive city, particularly in terms of transportation, information, data, digital, and energy.
Okay, so the main idea here is the inclusiveness. That means also bottom-up democracy for the climate change actions. So cities have to take by creating, from individual, by creating also communities of citizens, business across, and also to deal with the intergenerational approach. And for the question 2? No, only 1? Okay.
Thank you. We have had a very lively discussion, and we started with air quality, cities for citizens instead of cars, and so on. But we ended up with a quite different approach to the first question. And that is about the inspiration is not that we create through projects, but the inspiration comes from a young generation that is on the move in a way we have never seen before. So what we talk about is contract with the young generation as inspiration. That was the first. And then the second question, okay.
Le technicien, peut-être vous pouvez lever un peu le volume, parce qu'on n'entend pas très bien, je pense. Merci.
Yes. So we were also discussing about different areas of mobility and energy and all these things, but at the end we selected the following. So everyone agreed that what is really a challenge is going from piloting to implementation and scale up, and there are a lot of challenges that need to be met. So prioritization, governance, finance, and integration. So at the end we decided this is the big thing.
Yes, we had a similar discussion with many different aspects in the part of what is the city. But what we saw is that the aspirational part comes from the climate neutrality and responding to the climate challenge. And that to encourage the life in the cities is not enough to be smart. We want good quality of life.
We had broad agreement that the challenge is to change citizens' behavior so as to influence people's decisions to be more environmentally friendly. And we would achieve that through providing easy access to data and incentives. And one way to do this that was proposed and everybody liked is that to do this in the form of a game.
Okay, so our umbrella covering all the various contributions here was quality of life, in a way that this crosses different sectors and departments and issues, and it includes biodiversity, green infrastructure, public spaces, mixed use, multi-generational issues, social interactions, even air quality. The main issue here is that it's on the neighborhood level that we need to start in the local context to get and ensure this quality of life.
Well, we discussed several issues, but we came up with the transformation of urban transport and doing a best practices competition for the European Capital of Smart Transport. And then we had cross-cutting themes that go with it. That is sharing, inclusiveness, child-friendly city, the functional area around cities, and then it was also about small, medium cities and medium-sized cities and municipalities working together to overcome challenges.
Well, we had a very interesting discussion and a lot to choose from, actually, so that was very fruitful. We had discussions on redesigning and rethinking the city. Secure and safe city, digitally connected, appropriate infrastructure in terms of water and energy, healthier cities, open to the environment with nature values and reconnecting city with the rural environment, refunctionalizing the city, for example, with parking spaces, inclusive city concerning digital divide, and also resource management in terms of water and energy. Out of this all came preliminary two concepts that were not fully worked out. We needed some more minutes. Two issues were cities as a better ecosystem, or making cities a better or healthier ecosystem, something like that. And the second one was urban climate alliances.
Hello. We also had a wide-ranging discussion. We covered things like mobility and transport, technology as an enabler, so it works for everybody, be that somebody who's 6 months old or 99 years old. It's not a barrier for anybody. We also talked about safety, air quality, mobility as a service, the circular economy, and the interoperability of systems across cities. But what became apparent is you can't fix any of these things if you don't fix the others. So our big idea is we shouldn't consider cities as a load of different problems. We should consider cities as a system and part of a system of cities across Europe.
Yes, I think the last table. Lots of said. Also discussions here about a lot of challenges as mobility and circularity. So we thought, okay, but what is the enabler, more or less, for all these challenges to be more smart, to be more climate neutral? And we think there's a crucial element which has to be addressed in this mission, and that is to get all the citizens benefit from digitalization, from circularity, from cross-sectorial or regional and cross-border cooperation. And that's the difficulty, and that's that has to be addressed in a certain way, that it's extremely local, extremely affordable, and extremely exciting for the citizens to do anything of this to contribute to this city-level ambitions. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. In the group, we discuss mainly everything what has been already said. We started with the main sectors of emission, like transport, building, and waste. And we addressed a question about governance also, going cross-cutting, as some of you already said. And at the end, we wanted something quite visible to explain to a child. So we said we should replace the car by the tree. So we had this sentence: replace one car by one tree, to have like the objective also to no more traffic jams in cities, something like that, to address health quality issues, air pollutions.
So we also have an interesting sentence, just like you did. Thank you for the idea. The sentence that we have ended up choosing, because we had a very rich discussion, that sentence is that the cleanest energy is the energy that you do not use. So for us, the major challenge is the following challenge. It's about thermal isolation in houses, individual houses, buildings, private buildings, but also social housing, which means that the public authority, the municipality, for example, can start financing that thermal isolation project for all of the social housings.
So for us, the one sentence, the key challenge is increasing the quality of life while reducing the environmental footprint, keeping an inclusive approach, so taking everybody with us, enabling access to jobs, and this in larger and smaller cities, and so in cities and rural areas.
I think you were the last one, I'm not mistaken. Please, Graziana. So now we move to the most difficult part, and this is up to Graziana to try to summarize what you have produced today in very short time, and then we move very quickly to question 2. Please, Graziana.
Thank you for the task. It's the most difficult now. So in the center, what I've put is that some of you say that the cities must be an ecosystem. An ecosystem, and even more, city as a system with all the aspects covered together. Then this brings to the scaling up. It means that to have this ecosystem, probably we need a scale up of what is happening in each city, scaling up to the broader context, but also to the opposite. From the general, we have to be extremely local, regional, and give services to the people really locally, to them. Being on that, also cross-sectorial, regional, cross-border, the European aspect is here, and it's linked with the scaling up. Concretely, there was a proposal to transform the urban transport, creating maybe a capital of smart transport. This was concretely done, and by another one saying you could replace one car by one tree. This is linked to the transport and the mobility in general. This was concrete proposals. Last but not least, an inclusiveness in the cities. So inclusiveness brings also to social justice, to quality of life. I hope I summarize. It's very difficult in a few seconds to grasp and to link the ideas. So the quality of life, meaning concretely, you mentioned air quality, housing, biodiversity, green infrastructure, these kind of things for improving the quality of life of Europeans and worldwide citizens, I would say, because it's not the climate and the environment doesn't stop at the European borders. It's for worldwide citizens. And taking care a lot of the young generations, which are the future. I hope everything was covered. Anyway, you have the canvas with all the ideas, so in the report, I think that it will be more complete.
Thank you very much, Graziana. And now we move very quickly to question 2, and this time we will start on the other side. So please do it again in 1 minute per circle to give back your one answer to question 2. So, please.
Are we starting? Yeah. All right. Okay. So our idea was to how to engage citizens in the work of making our cities carbon neutral and smart was to give citizens a carbon budget. And the reason for this idea was that I think there's quite a lot of us that feel helpless We are sometimes uncertain of our actions and what they mean and how they can contribute. The idea of a citizen carbon budget, it can foster engagement, it can foster empowerment, it can act as a big enabler for citizens. And I choose to believe that if cities would go out with a pilot for this, you would actually find that there's quite a lot of volunteers among citizens who would be quite willing to go on a carbon budget or carbon diet. And I think you could receive quite a lot of interesting results from this, how it is actually possible to live, if not zero carbon lives, then at least low carbon lives as citizens in European cities. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Just a question, because this is a proposal for the future, I suppose. Just keep in mind that we ask you also some good examples of citizens' engagement that you know that exists, which is very useful to have inspiration.
Okay. We talked a lot about the how to convince citizen stakeholders to contribute, and that's a difficulty. So one of the things which really came up was which is close to the citizen itself is the food impact. And also Bristol rolling out no food waste, etc. So this is a real, you have to look at, let's say, parts which are nearby and which can be done and which can be performed by the citizens themselves. And waste is close by, and you can arrange for this, and they can take responsibility for that kind of projects locally. In general, for example, we made something like the climate atlas. So we made clear for all the citizens on the internet, on paper, what the energy abuse is, of the energy use is of each of the buildings in the city. And we got a lot of responses on this, and also for which roofs are available for sun panels. So when you give this insight, it helps.
We had quite a few examples of good citizen engagement. These included participatory budgets from local authorities where citizens can be directly funded to deliver small projects that have a direct impact on their local areas. Ranging to the engagement that has gone on in London over many years that's led from a congestion charge zone to an ultra-low emission zone in the centre of London without much objection from the public when they have to pay more money to drive into the city centre because they know it's improving their air quality. Key factors we identified was part of it is about shifting the power from the politicians to the citizens and doing that in the long term and consistently and delivering on what you promise.
So I don't have a sentence as smart as the previous one. Someone talked about playing and gamification earlier, and we think that people nowadays like to participate in games. So what we propose is to organize contests, for example, between families to try and see who can reduce producing waste during 1 month. So reduce waste production within a family. And the other contest that we propose is for companies. Which companies are able to increase remote working?
So we looked at examples where we have a citizens' engagement, which is already very well working, and that is based on giving the citizens the information they need to make an informed decision. We have examples for e-bikes in 2 areas, in logistics in another area, where the citizen can get hands-on experience, get all the information they need over a period of time, and make then an informed decision to help them to be part of the transition. So we think that is a very good example of citizens' engagement.
We had a bit of a discussion going from the very local to the more regional focus. We discussed on the very local level, very concrete how you can involve already from the children into making them aware, until what we also heard from one of the other colleagues, decision making by residents on certain budgets to make that they decide how they're going to do it. In the end, we decided on the city level with the view of sort of urban climate alliances. I have an example from my city, but I think there's way more examples like that, where basically we organize in the city different tables, like we're doing here, on specific topics to see, okay, how can we find these solutions? And I think that is of particular interest because it could also feed into the von der Leyen agenda for the Green Deal.
We came up with the idea of urban living labs with research, example given involving citizens in measuring environmental quality.
So, our approach, following an example of Amsterdam, we call that accumulated approach. That means that different aspects are well considered from social perspective, climate, green, aging, mobility issues, whatever is on stake here. In order to do so, we had some very nice examples in putting researchers next to planners or social workers to really work on a concrete case, or communication matters that need to be in place, all feeding into the fact that it's not a one-time engagement, but it's a longer-term commitment and ownership, as far as I get that, to take over responsibility for co-creating. So which means that it's about facilitating citizen engagement, again, and cooperation on the local level. Let people do what they want to do. I think this is something that's very, very nice to think about. And that also goes back to governance issues and new roles for city administration in order to be able to do that.
Yeah, we pick up an example from the city of Oslo that had to do with citizen involvement, not only because to get the information, but also to be part of providing the information, being the ones providing the data themselves. The data that we picked up, it was data on air quality. It is the citizens, the kids, when they are in their bicycles, when they are walking in the street, that compile with the small sensors that they have in their bags, the air pollution. That brings data so that we have a collective knowledge, but at the same time provides a very individual understanding of what is the level of air pollution that you have there. And with that understanding, you help getting into solutions. It's also important that this is data that is measurable, that is not just something that comes from a model, and that shows if there is a difference or not. So the fact that things are measurable and traceable, we picked that example because it's also an important part when we are thinking on the missions.
All right, we had broad consensus that a good way to engage people is through tried and tested meeting platforms to exchange information, and this can be done through apps, social media, or in person. And it's important to make sure that the communication happens both ways, from people to the city government and city government to people. Thank you.
Yes, we were also talking about various ways of and examples of engagement. And at the end, we kind of, the common denominator was with all these examples that there should be wide involvement. So it's involvement, engagement, not only information of the citizen based on their interests, their education, their backgrounds. So this with this kind of leave no one behind thinking, and using the different types of arenas that are there, from libraries, community centers to schools, but of course also keeping in mind that the universities are important in this, can be very important in this aspect as well.
So we discussed some individual examples. We choose to take a horizontal approach instead of sectorial approach. And we identified cities where we have a lot to learn from. For example, Barcelona with its digital strategy, or take France with Nantes, Ile-de-Nantes, which is a new example of building sustainable cities. Freiburg in Germany, Amsterdam. We have Copenhagen, which has now a commitment to 2025 to become climate neutral. That, I think, is the most brave commitment I've ever seen. Oslo, we have heard about it. We are working in Stockholm, in my city district, with a citizen-based innovation platform with a lot of companies and with housing associations. So these are examples we can use in looking for the next step. Thank you.
I'm sorry to push you, but I have been told that you have only 5 minutes and then we need to leave the room. So, yeah, keep in mind it's very short.
So in our roundtable, the idea was to answer the main topics of the first question, that is inclusiveness. So we've discussed different examples about how to develop inclusiveness, how to mobilize citizens, their desires, their will to be engaged in the inclusiveness process. And the answer was about the creation of platforms for collaboration involving the citizens, researchers, the stakeholders, and so on, and for creating ownership and using competencies. The idea is to move from ideas also to actions.
Thank you. Next one.
So we selected community initiatives as good example for citizen engagement, and with what we mean with this is like citizen farming, food waste sharing, cleanup days, and the positive impact on that initiative that these initiatives have is that they build local communities and that they educate society and they educate the young ones. If you cleaned up your neighborhood, you won't maybe put the bottle the next time next to the trash. And what could be done is to analyze those local initiatives, and that could be put into other parts of Europe.
Thank you. The last one, I think.
So our excellent examples are initiatives run by citizens that implement shared and circular economy that are being monitored for impact to create sustainability.
Thanks a lot. Serge?
Yeah, sorry.
We need a few seconds.
Very quickly, because we don't have a lot of time, I tried to summarize. I took the perspective of how we can involve citizens as individuals, what one can do to help and to contribute. And this is this first column, when you may have some incentives to push citizens not to deal with waste, to use clean transport, to co-create all together to be part, and to use data sensor, for example, so to put data sensor at home. So this is a kind of individual action, and you may have more. And then here, more to engage citizens as a group, in a group. So through digital platform, through living labs for specific purpose, but all together. And here we have different examples. I don't have time to go through all of them, but thanks to you, we have also the name of cities where we can also go back and ask for more details. So first, incentives and how one person, a human, can participate. Here, to put people together in different ways, digital, non-digital, to help them together to act. And the last one I put here is about budget. How you can, through participatory budgeting, to allow what was done, a carbon budget to a citizen, so to play with the power of money, in a way, to help citizens and the cities to become smarter and sustainable. And here I have the last one, sorry. And I think it's also about having people together, co-creating something to help their city to become smarter and more sustainable. Thank you very much for all of you. And then Graziana will conclude. And then...
No, not me. It will be the chair of the board. But before that, I would like to applaud all of you, because the contribution was very good. So you have to be...
I would like to thank you on behalf of the mission board, because you are very active, and in fact it's our first co-creation, and because at the end of October we have to prepare a report about the communication, so you are the first group as the citizens who were in touch with us and reported what is needed for you. Thank you very much.
Just a quick announcement. If you are interested for another session dedicated to the cities, there is one that starts quarter past 2 at the Galileo room. Is City as Innovating Lab. So you are very welcome to participate. Thank you.
Because this one I am sharing. No,